Hey there, I'm Sal. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I want to do a 10,000 mile update on my Goodyear Wrangler Authority tires. I installed them last November, driven them a bunch, towed 2 trips with them, and they've been awesome. But I want to lay out some pros and cons, so let's get into it. So yeah, once again, these are the Goodyear Wrangler Authority tires. What's unique about these, as opposed to the Duratracs, which are very similar, is that the Authorities are only sold at Walmart. So that's something that I was like, questioning a little bit, like, do I want to buy tires from Walmart? But it was a really good deal when I bought them, and I still think it's pretty good value for what they are. So these are 265/75 R16. It measures out to around 31.5 inches tall, so it's not a full 33-inch tire, but it's definitely a little bit of an upgrade over stock, and I think the looks are just a lot beefier, and that's why I decided to go with it. These also have a 10-ply rating for like thickness of the sidewall, so that's kind of why I bought them, because I knew I was going to be towing with them a little bit. In hindsight, I probably didn't need it, but they're rated for that, and the sidewalls are pretty stiff. So being an all-terrain tire, it gives it a really aggressive appearance on the outside here. These knobs are super thick with really deep holes in between. I think the face of it on the sidewall looks really aggressive, and yeah, it's one of the things I liked most about the tire when I was shopping around. Also, it didn't really apply to me when I was living in Florida. Well, definitely didn't apply in Florida. Doesn't really apply in Virginia either, but it is 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake certified, which basically just means that the National Tire Association, whatever, certifies this tire to be safe in extreme winter weather conditions. So if you live up north, that's nice to have as well. So looking at the wear after around 10,000 miles, you can see it's wearing very evenly, and I mean, these treads are still so deep. Like that's got to be, I don't know, like 3/4 of an inch deep. Like that's crazy. They're just such big knobs here, but it's wearing evenly across. I have rotated them once, front to back, so I think that helps a little bit. There's a tiny bit of like cupping, it looks like, on the sides here, but really not a lot of wear for 10,000 miles. It's kind of what I would expect and what I would hope out of tires, that they're not showing too much wear after 10,000 miles. But I mean, yeah, these are looking really good. So I made a video about this wheel and tire setup when I first started the channel, but I only had a couple of months of experience with this setup. So now that I have almost a year with the setup, I'm able to talk a little more knowledgeably about the pros and cons. Starting with the pros, I think the biggest thing that you're looking for in a tire is that it looks good. You want to be buying something that you're happy to put on your car or truck. So I think that these look really good. I think they're up there with some of the other big names for a fraction of the cost. I just think it's an aggressive look. Like I was talking about earlier, these knobs are just massive. The really aggressive, like, I don't know, like little cuts on the side here. I think they look really good. Also, with this size, again, like I said, it's not a full 33. So on these trucks, I have a 2002 Tundra. There's no rubbing at all. It's a little bit bigger than factory, but it's not big enough where you have to do any clearancing or anything like that. So I think it's a really good size, especially where I'm not really doing any like major off-roading or any off-roading at all. It's mostly just for looks. So it's kind of like, checking that box for me, where it looks bigger than stock, definitely meatier tire, especially being an all-terrain tire. But it's not so big that it's starting to hindering the daily drivability. And the last big thing is the price. So again, being from Walmart, I got mine on a Black Friday deal. I paid $144 a tire, so it ended up being just over like 600 bucks with tax and stuff, which I think is a really good deal. You start looking at tires, and before you know it, it's like well over $1,000, and that's not even including wheels, assuming you want to switch those out too. So the fact that I found these for a pretty decent price like that, I was really happy with, and you can't really argue with it. I was looking just before I made this video, and it looks like they're around 200 bucks now, but I would expect them to go on sale again around the holidays if you are willing to wait. So talking a little bit about the things I don't love about these tires, it really, in my opinion, boils down to 2 things. They're kind of loud and they're kind of heavy. And yes, those are both two things that I knew kind of coming into it, and I was expecting it because it's an all-terrain tire with a 10-ply rating sidewall. So you know it's going to be a heavy tire with all that rubber. And then, I mean, it's an all-terrain tire, so the knobs are big. It's just going to make more noise rolling down the road than the passenger tire that was on here before. So like I said, I knew it going into it, but it's still really worth noting because if this is a daily driver like it is for me, you can very, very clearly hear them rolling down the road, especially over 30 miles an hour. I recorded some sound clips while I still lived in Florida, and I'm just going to put them in this video too because they really accurately show how loud these tires are at a bunch of different speeds. As far as them being heavy, you can kind of feel it on acceleration, but really not that much. But you really notice it when you're filling up the gas tank. With the passenger tires that were on here, I was getting like 17 miles per gallon probably on average, and now I'm getting like in the 15s. So the truck is just struggling to get them moving, especially in the city where you're doing a lot of stop and go. That inertia to get all this mass moving is it's a lot to overcome. So something worth noting. But again, it's one of those things, if you're buying a bigger tire, you're expecting to be hurting your gas mileage and making a lot more noise. So I don't know, those are two things to note. I also kind of wanted to talk about what tire options you have most specifically for these first gen Tundras. That's just what I know and what I see all the time on Facebook and everything. And I'd say that on the access cabs, I think 16-inch wheels look pretty good. But I'd argue that on a double cab, the DC Tundras, 16-inch wheels are starting to look kind of small. So a lot of people will step up to 17-inch wheels. And then for tires, they'll run 285/75 R17s. And those end up being, they were like right at 33-inch tall tires. And I think that's a really good size for the double cab Tundras. But I honestly think, and obviously I'm biased, I spent like $1,000 on this setup, however much I spent. But I think that this setup is a good size for the access cab Tundras. Yes, you can step up to a 33 and it looks sick and it probably does much better off-road. But for me as a daily driver, I think that this 31.5-inch tall tire is doing the job just good enough. So I mentioned earlier that I had towed with these tires, and yeah, I did 2 trips from Florida up to Virginia. First time moving a car, and the second time huge U-Haul with all my crap in it. And both times tires had no problem with all the weight on them. And I was impressed because I thought of it after I should have. When I was like almost done with my first trip, I was like, oh crap, I never even thought to inflate the rear tires to a higher pressure just to help them, bear the load a little bit better. So they were at my stock like 35 to 40, 37, whatever they're at now. And they never even blinked an eye. They never looked like they were stressed, like super compressed down or anything like that. They looked really strong. So that was the 10-ply sidewall probably doing its thing. But yeah, I was really happy with how they towed. But yeah, other than that, I think for 10,000 miles, they're still doing really well. Tons of tread left. No major like cupping or other like improper wear on them at all. I'm happy with how they're performing. I'm used to how loud they are on the street now. Doesn't really faze me. If anything, it helps drone out some of the other, ticking from the engine, which is, just kind of annoying to me in these trucks. But yeah, so I like them. I'd recommend them. There'll be a link in the description to them on Walmart. Go check them out. If you're following the channel, I'm sorry there hasn't been a ton of videos lately. I've just been super busy with work. But I got some really cool things coming up. I'm very excited. Something big is happening this week, and I'll get you guys updated on that as soon as I can. But yeah, videos will be starting back up again soon. But yeah, I've just been so busy. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.